I don't want to limit Ian Morgan's accomplishments to just building a massive Instagram following and settling for labeling him as only a running influencer, because the reality is, Ian Morgan is so much more than that. In this interview, we dive into his love for running, his love life, and how he survived a mid-race heart attack. So I guess my first question is, at what point did you fall in love with running?
I think we've got to go back a little bit before the start of this current running journey to when I was a kid. I used to live near some hills in my home city of Christchurch in New Zealand. And I used to spend a lot of time up there, so much running, but exploring, hiking, running around, playing. And it was just a moment in my life I just really loved. I was really happy. Life was simple. It was easy. I don't know. You remember when you were a kid, maybe the summers seemed longer and everything just seemed a lot easier. So fast forward, 20, 30 years, or 30 years actually. And I was in my late 30s, early 40s, and I was just at a point in my life where I was under so much stress. We just had a series of earthquakes in New Zealand. My marriage at the time was going through divorce, breaking up, and going through divorce, separation, divorce. A lot of stress in my business. And I was just sitting there one night drinking a beer, and I thought, man, when was the last time I was truly happy? And I just thought back to those childhood memories. And I thought, something hit me. I don't know what it was, that I just wanted to be happy. It wasn't like running was some kind of answer or magic, like bullet or formula. It was just like, just wanted to get out and run, just had this overwhelming feeling. So yeah, I just started to run. And to say that it was wonderful would be a lie. I must admit the first 6 months were probably some of the toughest of my life in the physical sense. But yeah, there was just something that caught my, my imagination, my attention, my passion, and it just held.
Now, obviously, from that point on, you've made a huge impact on Instagram. That's how I found you. Would you call yourself an Instagram influencer? It's a weird question, but I mean, you influence a lot of people. Because again, I came across you, and even on the days where I feel like shit, I'm like, man, I look at your post and you make it seem and feel so positive and fun.
This term influencer is like bandied around a lot nowadays, and everyone's, got, I guess, an influencer of some kind. But, it's just me doing what I do, living my life. And I started posting about it just because my oldest daughter, she said, hey, you should put some of the photos of where you run on Instagram, Dad. And I said, yeah, okay, no one's going to be interested. And that's how it started. And it's just really documenting my everyday life, and I keep it really simple, and I just tell my story. But somehow that's grown into what it is today. And, I don't know how it's happened. And I love that it has, because it's given me the opportunity to get out there and see the world and share my story. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just a simple Kiwi guy that just loves to run. So
how often do you get messages? I mean, I'm assuming you get messages like every day. And what are the most popular questions you usually receive in your DMs?
Good question. The most common ones, I would say, what's my height? What's my weight? What do I eat? What does my training look like? That will be the most common ones. I've thought, I get these every day. I've almost thought like putting in my Instagram bio, like, height, weight, diet and exercise regime. So yeah.
So when I was looking at, and I didn't know this before, but I saw that in 2015 you suffered a pretty serious heart attack.
Yeah, I had a genetic heart issue, and I was running in a race, and I collapsed and I was taken to the hospital, and they did angioplasty, I think, and found I had genetic heart disease in the three main arteries that feed the heart, the two left ones and the right one. The two left ones were partially, almost fully blocked. So, yeah.
Now, when we talk about the word like motivation, it's like, you know, when I have those bad days where I have the days I don't feel like being out there, I think about a situation like this where you get a heart attack and you're back out on the road. Or like, obviously it didn't come easy and it wasn't the next day, but the word I can't really doesn't exist in your mindset.
All these things are just setbacks. I don't really see them as like, well, I'm going to stop doing what I love. I mean, there might come a day when something will, and I'll have to accept that. That's fine. But I think so often in life, it's just easy to give up sometimes and to actually find solutions. And I think, even just in this current world situation, where if you get too focused on the problem instead of looking for solutions, you stop thinking, you stop like looking for a way to improve, get better, and work your way through it. So certainly for me, more of like a solutions-based outlook rather than like focusing actually on the problem, but looking for solutions around it has helped me in a lot of areas.
I'm from Boston. Obviously, the marathon here is a pretty big deal for the city and for the rest of the running world. What was your first experience like?
Man, Boston is incredibly special to me, and for a lot of reasons. It was the first goal I set myself to run the Boston Marathon, actually just to qualify for it. When I started on this like new stage of my life, this running journey. So yeah, to actually get there and run it was just like, I don't want to use the often said term, but dream come true would be the way to describe it, I guess. And man, Boston, it's just a special place. Like the people, the crowds, the support, the city comes alive in the marathon week. And I don't know, I run other races around the world, but there's just something about Boston that's just incredibly special. I mean, I've run it 3 times now. Obviously, during the pandemic, I haven't had a chance to come back, but I'm looking forward to coming back again and running it. That turn onto Boylston Street and that last stretch, if anyone ever gets the chance to qualify and run it, I would totally do it just for that last like half mile to mile.
You know what's funny about it? I have actually never run the Boston. I've run New York City 4 times and I'm running New York again. But for me, it's always tough up here because I struggle with training inside and I'd prefer to be outside. And some of these winters up here are really tough. But this is like the first year they've had it in the fall. So I missed the timing on it because I already signed up for New York. But I'm going to push myself for next year to run Boston for the first time and muscle through the winter.
I know the winters are cold up that way. So yeah, anyone that can train through that, well done.
Now, obviously, being a follower of yours on Instagram, I see that through running, you found a little bit of a love story there.
Well, actually, Boston is tied into that too. Funnily enough, my partner, or I should say, wife partner, is Chilean Spanish, Fran Guibar on Instagram, and she actually studied in Boston when she was studying to be a teacher and eventually a principal. So she actually went there and studied in a school there as an adult student, part of her teaching degree. So she has a connection to Boston as well. And when I went to first run Boston, she came there as well to support me. And she's actually been to each Boston Marathon and she wants to run it herself as well. So yeah, I mean, Fran and I met on Instagram, I think it will be for almost 5 years ago now. And she was in Chile, I was in New Zealand. We actually met in Italy, in Milan. We flew back and forth at different times to catch up with each other over the next few months. And then actually was in Boston in a hotel room that we decided after knowing each other for 6 odd months to move in together. And in Chile, and the rest is history, I guess.
So it's safe to say that running brought you guys together.
For sure. She's an ultra runner as well.
Now, before we go, I do want to talk about some of your partnerships because I think it's one of those stories of do what makes you happy, and it seems like you are doing that, and you've been able to partner with some amazing companies through this journey.
Yeah, I've had I guess been very lucky to have brands that have come in and supported me, helped me out, and continue to work with me. So yeah, a big shout out to those guys at Naked Sports Innovations, Sequent, which is my watch sponsor. Who else do we have? Sequence Automation, Simelp, a company I've just started working with, a French company. Ultra X, which is a international race company. They do ultra marathons all over the world. And yeah, there's a few other brands that sort of help support me here and there. Archmax, they do some socks for me. So yeah, I appreciate all those guys.
Now, just to put it into perspective, how many miles a week do you actually run?
On average, probably about 70, 80 miles a week on average. Yeah.
Now, miles per day then?
I usually run about 5 to 6 days a week. So, and it's not like split into an average. Some days I might do more, some days I'll do less. But yeah, on average, 5 to 6 days a week running and about 70, 80 odd miles a week.
The positive impact running can have on one's life is very evident when you see and speak to Ian Morgan. Now, from the outside looking in, it can seem to some running is miserable. But the reality is running can bring so many people together on top of providing so many health and mental health benefits. I mean, running brought me in contact with Ian, and before this, I would literally use his Instagram posts as motivations for my run. I was first introduced to Ian Morgan through a social media influence. Now I know and see Ian Morgan's value to be worth so much more than just that.